the WOW Wingless Series, National Series, about to head to Sydney at Eastern Creek Speedway. What a fantastic concept to get wingless, so where they sort of need. This is what the division needs, a national series to travel around and showcase how good of division it really is.
I think, Rano, I was, initially I was probably a little bit skeptic of the NOS sprint thing, the wingless sprint thing. When I mean the sound, I think the engine noise was very different. It was a little bit like a squash duck sort of sound. It was like, ooh, what are we doing here? And in the last probably, 5 or 6 years in particular, I've really begun to understand how important this category is to Australian Speedway. And not only that, I get a lot of people, particularly in America, say, oh, when are you going to go 410 with your non-wing or your 360 or not? And I'm like, nah, I think we're exactly where we need to be at with this category. The Australian Wingless Sprint title is one of the best national championships every year that I go to. From the raw talent of these rookies and these kids that have come out of Speedway karts or juniors or somewhere like that, to the guys like Peter Logue that are still out there, racing. It's a really great mix, I think, of budget, of newcomer and exciting veterans. So I think the formula is really right for it. It's got some really, really good people behind the scenes that are organising it, and I think it's an extension of what that AWSR Aussie title looks like.
And I honestly, I struggle to think of a bad Australian wingless sprint title in the last 5 years. There really hasn't been. Even like the heat racing, it gets you excited. There's certainly been a stigma over the previous years that, wingless weren't sort of the class to sit on the hill and watch, but I think they're starting to grow out of that shadow, Wade. Yourself and Scott Yellop and the team, they're just progressing things forward. You can't make this stuff happen overnight, but the last 4 or 5 years we've seen a really steady progression with the actual category as a whole.
I think you're right, Jared. I think absolutely the class has enormous potential, and for the most part, it's been kept within the budget. It's been something that people have understood that, hey, we need to keep this sensible in the way that it's presented. Some of the teams do a great job. There's fantastic lady races as well in this category. So, I think the idea of, with Scott Yallop and Jason Bates and Daniel Goldoni and, people like that and the Prez, Daryl Sloan, there's so many people behind this whole concept that I think it was always going to win if it had the right people behind it. And it's just a balance, I think, of getting the right teams and staying within the budget. I know it's hard for West Aussies to travel, and we've seen that the last couple of years with the Australian titles. But I hope as things go on and we can somehow work out some diesel deals for these trucks to get across Australia, I think we've got a really exciting category going forward.
Yeah, not wrong. And they provide an opportunity for teams or sprint car teams to sell parts and to get people in. Like it makes the whole universe work in a speedway dimension. So